Here's a smartwatch which has passed 12 military-grade tests with amazing battery endurance and tracking of more than 70 different kinds of sports. All of that at the unbelievable price below $100 for the Kospet Tank M2. Is there a catch? Let's inspect! Rugged smartwatches, and looks like these days you can build a decent smartwatch, call it rugged, and ask people to pay $800 if it's coming from a reputable brand. And here, of course, I'm referring to the Apple Watch Ultra series. This is coming from the company Kospet, costs nearly 10 times less than that, and promises to deliver a lot of good smartwatch-grade features. But in this video, we want to go deeper and figure out whether it in reality delivers that, or it's more like a fitness tracker grade solution. So this here is the Tank M2, and M2 means it's apparently the second iteration or generation of that. We'll see how far Kospet made it this time and whether that's a reasonable alternative to Apple Watch Ultra or other rugged styled smartwatches, and we want to find out whether for this budget this is the right choice for you. If you've never heard about a company called Kospet before, they actually have been on the market of smartwatches for quite a long time, and I've tested some of their Android-based wearables in the past. Apparently, now they focus on a different niche, and could be that they come a little too late to this party, because in the segment of smartwatches for around $100, there are really a lot of attractive models and designs. Also, quickly assessing Kospet's marketing strategy around the Tank M2, I believe they're making too sexist statement by saying that this is, and I quote here, specifically built for men. As for competition, we can think of the more basic TicWatch models, Amazfit's T-Rex series, and even some Garmin models, but only if Kospet's Tank M2 capabilities are good enough. So we carry on our inspection with the unboxing. Honestly, this has been a lot more positive experience than expected. It's really impressive that Kospet have invested a lot in order to make this box look really cool. The most interesting specs are written down, and you can well enjoy the feeling that there's something cool about to come out. So here's the watch. I was a little stunned by the fact that the strap is not installed out of the box. I guess a person with manicure is going to struggle to mount this, so it could be that this has something to do with the slogan, specifically built for men. 22mm standard, and you can use any kind of strap that you like. The accent from the orange liquid silicone rubber seems to well match one of my favorite straps already. An interesting charging plate, a little too big for my taste, but it's much easier to locate among most other cables. The design looks alright at the first sight. Hearing the name Tank, I was somehow expecting entirely metal body, because tanks are definitely not made of polycarbonate as what most of the case is covered with. There is some metal though, and it's the accent piece at the top, which goes above the display, therefore the glass is well protected. You can additionally add this tempered glass, really generous from Kospet to include it as part of the pack as well. The sides are nice to the touch. There are 3 buttons, each one is easily accessible. On the back side, there are the health measuring sensors. They're in contact with your wrist, so make sure to keep the strap well fitted around it, because if it is loose, the measured data is gonna be either missing or less accurate. If you're curious about the technical details, I have of course a list with the most interesting specs: 1.85-inch display, a Realtek-made chipset, 380 mAh battery. The watch supports HR tracking, sleep tracking, even blood pressure measuring, 70 different types of tracked workouts, IP69K water resistant, weight is around 60 grams, there's Bluetooth and the smartphone app which is called Kospet Fit. So the Tank M2 is a very nicely built smartwatch, but if we read between the lines concerning the specifications, it's more like a fitness tracker. I'm very happy that Kospet have kept most of the signs of the previous generation. They have improved some things on the outside, internally as well. Probably the strongest points of this smartwatch are the really decent battery endurance and also the extra good build quality of the case, because it's even IP69K certified, with K signifying that it can withstand high pressure water jets. And Kospet promised that even at a depth of 50 meters, this smartwatch should be fine. Other than that, in terms of health tracking, it's doing really well. It can track your heart rate, it can track blood oxygen saturation, and also blood pressure. But even on Kospet's website, they underline that this is done based on software algorithm, and we should really carefully check whether that's accurate or not. It's very nice that you can make phone calls through the smartwatch. These are Bluetooth relayed phone calls, meaning that your smartphone has to be somewhere around in order to do that. And you can even use this smartwatch as an external speaker with variable success. I guess before going deeper in terms of testing, let's find out what's up with the software and the system navigation. Navigation through the menus is slightly different to some other smartwatches. There's a dedicated screen on and off button. The bottom one is a back button. Long press of both is gonna lead to the power menu. The button on the left is a shortcut to the workouts, meaning that most of the controls and app access is done via swiping. Swipe down for quick toggles. We have 2 pages with these, and they get you quick access to some important functions like the Do Not Disturb mode, the wrist gesture enabling, or screen brightness control. Swipe up and you're gonna see the queue with the notifications. There are a lot of characters shown, however, the not too great resolution is the reason for these characters to appear a little old-schoolish. There is the option to respond to certain notifications. Swipe left and you're gonna be able to scroll through the default tiles. Sadly, not infinite scrolling, probably because if you swipe right from the main screen, you're going to get to the app list. As you may notice, most of these apps are fitness tracker grade. If we go to the list with the workouts, you're gonna see all the available 70 workouts, and scrolling is a little annoying. I would prefer to see the option to select favorites that are pinned to the top of the menu. Going down the list, a weather widget, alarm clock with sound, a toolbox with a few helpful ideas, and of course settings section from which you can control certain parameters, and they also expose some of the weaknesses of the watch, like the lack of always on display mode. This is mostly because of the display type, which is IPS and not AMOLED, but there also is no automatic brightness because Kospet did not add any sensor for the ambient light measuring. The watch faces are also somewhat underwhelming, but at least free of charge, and lately I start to appreciate such offers more and more. If we dig deeper in terms of software, the smartphone app actually looks nice. It seems to be a rework of the popular app The Fit, which many white labels have been using in the past. So, bunch of options to configure and details about your health as collected by the sensors. Sleep tracking is not that accurate. Fails to detect moments when I was awake during nighttime. The detected timing for falling asleep and waking up seems to be on par with the reality. HR tracking is fine, not superb, but rather very good. Took me a while to test this, due to a minor injury preventing me from proper breathing lately. Sports in general are not as strong inside, because no inbuilt GPS means a lot of limitations, and if you want to count on routes and ability to have details about real pace outdoors, you may want to pick a different smartwatch. But there also are some nice goodies that other brands do not offer, such as the Bluetooth calling and the microphone and the speaker, which are surprisingly good, or the ability to reject a call with a key or delay the notification about an incoming call. Before summing up whatever we've learned about the new Kospet smartwatch, I'd like to put together all the drawbacks discovered in this list, and here we have to point to the display. It is not AMOLED, therefore doesn't support AOD, and also lacks automatic brightness feature, which even some fitness trackers can do these days. The build is nice, but the quality of the materials leaves me with some second thoughts, no way to add third-party apps, and the lack of inbuilt GPS, which are the main concerns I could point to. To the question from the very beginning, whether there have been any corners cut with the M2 by Kospet, I would say yes, there obviously are some things that could have been done better, with the biggest drawback in my opinion being the lack of an inbuilt GPS, because this really limits you in terms of good, precise workout tracking. The other thing which is a little annoying is the presence of IPS display, because since there is no AMOLED, you cannot count on always on display feature, but the circular edition, which Kospet called the T2, has these features and costs about the same money. So all these corners have been cut, in my opinion, in order to keep the price below $100, and if this really was the main priority, then I think Kospet have done a pretty good job with the Tank M2, and I would think of that as a more affordable version of the Amazfit T-Rex series. And it's interesting to hear What do you guys and girls think? Comment below. What's your opinion about the Tank M2 by Kospet? Is it something worth buying? And speaking of buying, in case you're interested in this smartwatch, you can find a purchase link with a modest discount so that you can enjoy it even more. In case of questions, you know how to reach out. As usual, it's been such a pleasure to present you all of that. My name is Michael and look forward to see you in our next review. Have a great day. Bye.